Hello everybody, welcome back to Scrappy Adam and welcome to something a little bit different, a bit more crafty Adam than Scrappy Adam today. You may or may not recall the other day we had a quick glimpse of this box. This is a box of Disney die cuts or Disney ephemera and it is rammed full. And I mean absolutely chock-a-block full. Like, look at how much stuff is in here. Now, I am the first to admit that I am lazy. I am a lazy scrapbooker. And when I say that, I don't mean like lazy. I mean, I will always seek out the easy embellishments before seeking out the hard embellishments. And by that, I mean, I will go to a sticker sheet and pull out a sticker before I will rummage through a pack of die cuts or a box of die cuts in this case, and so the die cuts get forgotten and left and time goes on and we don't use them until you get to a point where it's like this. And I shall happily admit this isn't even all of them. This is more of the older stuff, so it's Photo Play, the first one, A Day at the Park. It's Say Cheese 2, 3 and 4 and it's Echo Park. I've got Echo Park Magical Place, Echo Park Remember the Magic, Say Cheese at the Park and those 5 collections, and Photo Play Another Day at the Park and Doodlebug separate to this. Now we may end up pulling some of that in just so I've got it all together. We may not, I don't know, we shall see. But I thought, why not make some sort of series out of it? So this is the first of a couple of new series. It's going to be fairly ad hoc but regular. So I am going to commit to do a couple of videos a month at least. Maybe more, maybe less, we shall see. But it is going to be all about Disney, or at least Disney product. Now we may create layouts that are not Disney, and that's great. But it's going to be using primarily this box of Disney goodies, Disney die cuts. So we're diving into our Disney die cuts. You will also see I've got a box of clips here. These are all sorts of paper clips. We've got some that are Disney themed from Simple Stories. Some of these have yellowed. That is a natural thing when you've got metal. Obviously, I don't mind, it is what it is. I've got some plastic clips, we've got paper clips, we've got wooden stars, we've got pink fresh clips, we've got these things, whatever you call them. We've got paper clips, wooden ones, we've got these bow clips, which are Simple Stories, we've got jelly clips, we've got all sorts. And I've pulled them in because I thought, in my wisdom, I also have some flair to the side as well, and a stapler and some adhesive. I thought as we're sorting it out, I could make some embellishment clusters as well. Not saying we will, but I thought that could be a good idea. So I thought I would just have a chat really and go through these Disney embellishments with you guys and put them into some sort of order, make some clusters, and then use the stuff in future videos really. So in terms of some sort of order, I'm going to just take this down here for a minute. We've got big things like this. Now I struggle to use things like this, A, because of the shape. I'm not a fan of all this fancy schmancy stuff, but B, it's also quite big. However, I'm not going to get rid of it. So what I think we're going to do is we're going to create some piles. So we're going to have some large phrase pieces, and then we've got frames. We have got so many frames, and everybody, or at least if you've been around for a while, will know that I am a big lover of frames. But again, ones like this, I'm not a huge fan of. There may be some things that we end up getting rid of as we sort it out, and that's okay as well. Another thing that I have in this box is some cutter parts. So these two, for example, are cutter parts from Photo Play. This is one from Echo Park. So I'm going to put 3x4s in one pile and then other ones in another. We've got some title ephemera, so we're going to create a pile for one-word titles. We've got journaling cards. We've literally got so much. Bingo cards. another frame. I'm not going to say everything. Then we've got labels, so that can go in another one. And then we've got ones like this, which are more phrase based. So we're going to actually have those in a pile like that. And what I think we'll do is we'll have square and rectangle, circular, so like these, and other shapes. Just because that's generally how I will look at things. And then we've also got banners and tickets and all that sort of fun stuff. So it's just a case of going through like this and seeing where we end up. Now we've also got icons, we've got like a camera, we've got a cup, so that is another pile. I don't want to end up with a ton of piles, but equally I do want to separate it in such a way that makes sense to me. We've got these florals which came from Say Cheese 4, and I just love them. I love the florals from Say Cheese, Main Street and 4. So we'll have them up there because I know I don't have many of them. He says, picking another one out. Then we have things like this. So again, one-worded things can go there. We've got Go See Ride. I'm going to put that with like a one-word title. And things like this are going to go in the irregular shapes. Lots of icons. What's this? So looks like we have got photo play in here as well. Dreams really do come true. So then we've got tags. This is a tag. So we'll have tags up here. And that is basically what we are doing. We're just going through and trying to put some sort of order to all of this, just so we use it really. So I'm not, as I say, I'm not going to tell you everything, and we'll just talk as we do it. We've got lots of tags. So how do you guys store your ephemera? Do you have boxes like this? Do you have everything in the original packaging? Do you keep it with the collection so you don't actually separate anything? So when I'm also going to create a pile for journaling spots down here that are not 3x4 cards and not labels. When I first started scrapbooking, I don't know why, but whenever I got new stuff, I would take it all out of the packaging and separate it and have it all together. I have absolutely no idea why. Just one of those things. I didn't know what I was doing. I was new to scrapbooking, and that's just what I ended up doing, really. Then just gonna create this one. This is gonna be titles basically, so die cut ones like this. So yeah, I would just take everything out of all packaging and have it all together. I quickly realised that that wasn't really sustainable because I just ended up with far too much all over the place, as I'm sure you can all imagine. So then I very, very, very quickly ended up storing everything together, so a collection together, because I would generally struggle with trying to decide what to get from a collection. So I am that guy who would basically get everything for a long while. That's changed now, but I was that person, and I still am with some designers such as Vicky Booten. But I generally, there are exceptions, but I generally keep everything together now from a collection. But I do still have things left over. So when I do the new craft room tour, now that everything is organised in terms of scrapping and business, everything is super duper organised within an inch of its life. When I come to show you that, I can go through it all. But I basically have, oh look at that frame. I basically have a set of drawers that is all ephemera from different collections. So I still have a lot that is not with the collection because of that. And Disney is one like this. Now, do I regularly go and look through this box of Disney ephemera? Because there is a lot. There is thousands of pieces here. There's got to be. Do I regularly look through and see if there's stuff to use? No. That's what I was saying. I am lazy in that respect because I will just go and I will pick out the stickers because it's easy. Just go through 10 sticker sheets and voila, I have my embellishments or the foam stickers or whatever. Whereas with ephemera, you've got to actually dig through it. I've got to pull things out. I've got to look. I've got to decide. I've got to move things around. So I would naturally just automatically pick out my sticker sheet or my Disney drawer, which is full of foam stickers and brads and all that fun stuff. And this is all hidden. So here we are. We are going to focus very much on all of this ephemera. I don't know what way this series will go. It's just going to be a fun series for me to use my stash up. I encourage you guys to do the same, basically. That is all I am doing. It's I'm not claiming to reinvent the wheel or anything. I'm not giving like a new way of doing anything. That is literally what we're doing. We're just organising, sorting, going through stash, seeing what I've got and using it rather than just hoarding it, which is what I am doing at the moment. If I'm not using something and it's just staying in a box on a shelf, I'm hoarding it. Whether I intend to or not, it's what is happening. So yeah, I'm really interested and intrigued whether anybody else has boxes like this where it's crammed full of the same stuff. So you've separated it by theme. So you've got, I don't know, all your travel die cuts together, or you've got all your school die cuts together, or you've got, I'm going to actually combine those. So these are smaller. So we've got anything that's square or rectangle-ish, and then anything that isn't is going to go in one pile rather than trying to narrow it. Like I've seen that I've got 3 of these, so I've clearly had 3 packs of that ephemera. I've also got things that have been die cut as well. So yeah, I am intrigued how other people do it. I really, really am. Now, once I have organised like this, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to do it all on camera with you because that would just be very, very, very tedious. But once it is all organised, I will then look and we might be able to organise within the organise. So we might be able to narrow down our piles to make it even easier. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So yeah, I thought it's about time I actually used this stuff rather than it just sitting unused on a shelf. As I say, this isn't everything. I may or may not bring in some of the other stuff just so we have a variety of styles, because photoplay is very, very different to Doodlebug, which is very, very different to Simple Stories, which is very, very different to Echo Park. I have generally, not fully, but generally stopped buying Echo Park ephemera. I am just not a fan of it. And the reason for that primarily is because of all these different shapes. I just don't get on with them, and I find that I don't use them. I'm going to try and push myself to use them once we've sorted out here. But as it stands, I just find that they're always the ones that I just don't use. And I don't know why, because it's good to have the variety. And it's good to mix things up. But yeah, I just find that I don't use it. So I generally don't have Echo Park ephemera, nor Echo Park chipboard. Because, as we all know, I have a love-hate relationship with that. because of all the little nodules that are constantly stuck on it. Which is good, like, you know, I don't need stash, so it's a good thing, but I know when the Disney collection comes out that they're releasing, I will want that. But I will, as you can see, I do not need it, so I will not have it. I will be good. So we're keeping going through. We'll do a few more on camera and just have a chat. We're just hanging out, really, having a chat. I am genuinely really interested to know how everybody stores their ephemera, though. I've seen lots of things online. I've seen people with wallets. What I do, if I've got any here, I have a envelope full of these, which are CD wallets, and I take ephemera out the original packaging and store it in that. Even if I'm keeping it with the original collection, I will now store it excuse me, in the CD wallet. That was actually an idea that came from Cheryl for me, and it does really help, to be fair. So most of my ephemera can be found in CD wallets. Not all, but most. And what I generally have found is that it's easier for me to just pull things out and have a look and put it back in, rather than having to try and open packaging, close packaging and all that. So it's just trying to make the process easier and therefore more likely to use things. Doesn't always work, no, because I'm a lazy scrapper, but it's definitely helped a little bit. Okay, so we're just gonna keep working our way through this. As you can see, I have still got an absolute ton of stuff in here. It's bordering on being embarrassing. Don't get me wrong, I love my stash. I'm very proud of it, which might sound stupid, but I don't care, because it is a massive part of my life. Even if I do take breaks or I'm not on YouTube as much or whatever, there are some chipboard pieces in here. I'm just putting them with the ephemera. I'm not separating them. Even if I am not scrapping here on YouTube or you don't see me active on Facebook, it is still a big part of who I am, what I do. And so, yeah, I am proud of my stash and I do love it, and I get a lot of use out of it. But I am trying, again, doesn't always work, but I'm trying to become a little bit more conscious of what A, I buy, and C, I need, because I don't need all the things. We've got some paper where I've punched, like we've got these Mickey heads punched out the top. I'll put that with 3x4 card because it can still be used. And we've got loads and loads of frames, some of which I have cut in half because I've used half of it. That's fine, we can still use half a frame. Again, we've got loads of these. Lots of tags and labels. Put them there. Polaroid ones. I love this collection from Echo Park. We've got banners and we've got so much. I absolutely love it all. I really do. So we're just going to keep going. I am going to go off camera to carry this on, I think, because otherwise it's just going to be an extremely long video, me repeating myself, and you'll probably end up fast forwarding it anyway. So I might as well just toddle on off and get the rest of these organised, and then come back on and we can continue and see if we do make any clusters perhaps. Now that is not something that I have done much of, but I thought it might be a fun way to use some things up. So we'll see whether I do or not. We've got some small tags as well. I'm not a fan of the small tags, but I'm not going to get rid of anything at this stage. If when we're sorting through I see stuff and I think I'm not going to use that, then I will put it to one side and we'll either donate it or I'll throw it in the bin. There's no point in keeping stuff that you're not going to use, guys, because it's just silly. It's just silly and unnecessary. Give yourself permission to get rid of it and focus on the things that you are going to use and that do bring you joy. That is exactly what I have started to adopt, and it works. It really does. I have since got rid of a lot of stuff, whether that be through de-stash selling, whether that be through gifting, or yes, I have thrown a lot away as well. Okay, I will be back with you in a moment. Okay, so I have spent a little bit of time, it didn't take as long as I thought it would actually, sorting out this huge box of Disney die cuts, and we've got a lot of piles. You can see most of them. Some of them are off screen purely because I've run out of space, but I've tried to keep most of them on camera so that you can see. So I separated them into piles and then went through those piles and separated those piles into smaller piles, into whatever made sense to me. It might not make sense to you guys, you might have done it differently, let me know how you would have done it, but this is how I've done it because it's how I would look for something whilst I was scrapping. So I figured that is the best way to sort of make a start on it at least. So I have now got my CD wallets and we're going to put them into each wallet. I'm going to do a few and just explain what I've done as I'm doing it, and then I will finish them off and we shall see where we're at. So first up, I've got a load of hearts. Let me just put them in the wallet and then I'll show you. So we've got loads of different hearts. We've got hearts that are shaped, we've got ones that are square and ones that are in other shapes, but I've put them all into one because they are still hearts at the end of the day. So I figured let's put them into one wallet, and then these are what I would call finishing touches or scattering pieces. So we've got one for hearts and we've also got one for stars. All different stars, all different hearts from all of the different collections. Now I did also go into my collections and pull in the Doodlebug Fun at the Park ephemera pack. I forgot that it was one of the ones that Doodlebug has that have got faces on them. So we've got stars there as well. So you can see one of the stars has got a face. I'm not a fan of the faces on Doodlebug ephemera. It just doesn't really do anything for me. It kind of bugs me a bit. So some of it I won't use, like we've got a suitcase with a face on it. Some of it I will still use, like this we could use and then layer up with something else so then you can't actually see the face. Some of it will be unusable. So we've got this one as well, which is just loads of different suitcases and bags and that kind of stuff. So that is going to go in another one because it's kind of, it depended how much we had of each individual type really, but there's quite a few of them. What I've also done is gone through my Disney chipboard, particularly Echo Park, after they stopped putting adhesive on. The earlier collections had adhesive on the chipboard and then they kind of stopped doing the adhesive, which I don't know why they did that, but they did. So I've ripped all the chipboard off like the backing and I've added that in as well. Then we've got one that is all aeroplanes and tickets and passports. So that's going to go into one. And then there's this one, which is what I've sort of said is very Disney. So like we've got the half ears, got ampersand, we've got the magic hat, we've got the hands and the bows. Some of this is very, very Disney. Some of it is just a little bit. We've got mini ears and then lots of bows. So these are what I would say you're going to have to use on a Disney page really, because they are very Disney focused. Whereas everything else you could use pretty much on anything. It isn't solely Disney focused. It could work on other theme parks or days out or fun at home or anything along those lines. Now I'm going to add something else to this envelope, which is the luggage, and it's this one, which is just a small selection of some clothing and caps. It's been quite interesting to see what manufacturers include in these type of collections, because there are some common themes. Like there is loads and loads of sunglasses from all the different collections, from Echo Park, Simple Stories and Doodlebug. So it's interesting that they all think Disney theme park sunglasses. Luggage is another one. Hoodies and caps is another one. Hotel room keys, lampposts. Like we've got quite a few of these. Like this is Carter Bella, Steve Duncan, and then this is Doodlebug, and yeah, so it's all that kind of stuff. So then we've got this one, which is kind of like flags, banners, street signs, that sort of thing. Most of these are chipboard, apart from the one Doodlebug, which does have a face on the clock face, which is really bugging me because I love the actual piece, but I don't love the face. So whether we use it or not, we'll see. So I'm going to put those in one, and again, I've mixed the chipboard with the die cuts, just so we've kind of like sorted them and we actually use the things. Frames is one that we have a lot of. So I've got all these chipboard frames, as well as these chipboard frames. These are Simple Stories. These are mostly Echo Park and Carter Bella. I'm going to keep them on their own just because they're quite chunky and big. And then these ones I've ripped off the chipboard, and these are all the Echo Park and Carter Bella. So I'm going to put those in a CD wallet just so that they are all together. We might even get these two in. Yep, so they're all together and they are all chipboard. And then I also have two piles of cardstock frames. So we've got these ones which are Polaroid or square or rectangle. So let's put them in one. And they are generally the ones that I will reach for before I reach for anything else. And then we also have this one, which is sort of fancy shape. So we've got the ones like this, which I find that I don't reach for as much. And we've also got ones that I've cut in half, where I've used a piece on a layout already, a layering. So obviously if you're not going to see the whole thing, then you can cut it and get double the use. So we've got two frames plus our chipboard frames. Now this doesn't close or anything, it's just a means of keeping it all together. Then we have got this one. This is all circle words, basically. So by that I mean phrases, words that are circle or close to a circle. So there's a couple of speech bubbles and a couple of ovals in there and a couple of geotags. But sometimes you just want a circular element. There is also a couple of hearts actually in like scalloped circles. So they're all going to go in there. And then I know that if I look through there, they're all circular shapes. We have got, let's have a look. We've also got this one, which is circles. Now these are circular icons. Most of them are fireworks. That's another common theme in all these Disney-esque collections. I guess, obviously, because they do fireworks. But there's some icons as well, like we've got cameras. But I've kept all of the circle icon elements together. Again, sometimes you just know that that's what you need to finish off a layout. Then we've got tickets. Tickets I am a huge fan of. We've got all sorts of different shapes and sizes. We've got big ones, we've got small ones, we've got yeah, lots and lots of tickets. I love all the tickets. We've got chipboard tickets. I noticed that Doodlebug really didn't include tickets in their collection, which I thought was interesting. Simple Stories and Echo Park always include tickets, so there is loads of them. Again, that is something that I will often think I need to finish off a layout. Then we've got things like this. These are like flags or banners, whatever you call them. I always get confused as to what to call them. But that is what all this is. And we've got some like bunting, and again, there is chipboard in there. All different sizes, colours, collections. Some have got words on, some are patterns. Some have letters on and make up words if you use them all together. So they're all going to go in there. Excuse me. We have this one, which is cars. Now, I've kept this separate. I don't really know why. We've got 4, but I like the idea of using them for something specific. So I thought, let's keep them separate. And I've got plenty of envelopes, so that's not an issue. And some of the envelopes are going to have more in them than others, and that's okay as well. We have got florals. These are all from Simple Stories, Say Cheese 4 and Say Cheese Main Street. And I love these florals, so I wanted to make sure that we had all them together. I'll do a couple more, then I'll just go off and finish this, because it does get a bit repetitive. What else do we have? One thing that we have a lot of is treats and snacks embellishments, because that's a big part of Disney, of course, or any day out or theme park. This is one that does have a common theme. Pretzels, loads of pretzels. Teacups, loads of teacups. Coffee cups, popcorn, Dole Whips, all of that kind of stuff. So that's all going to go in there together. There is a mix of all of the manufacturers in there, and they all have the common themes in there. Then there is this one, which is one of my favourites. This is cameras and balloons. I don't know why, but I love camera and balloon embellishments. Is anybody else with me there? It's one of those things that you can use on any page at all, even balloons. Doesn't have to be a birthday page as far as I'm concerned, you can use it on anything. And we've got some Viewmasters, we've got chipboard, we've got cardstock. So that is all film strips, clapperboards, cameras, balloons. It just seemed sensible to have the balloons with the cameras. Not sure why, but there we go. We have a lot of words. So what I've done is I've separated these ones where they are like die cut. And again, we've got chipboard and cardstock. We've got word strips that are on the bigger side and word strips that are on the smaller side. We've got word strips that are arrows along with some arrows. Word strips that are medium. So these are more phrases. These are more single words but more square or rectangle, but not massive. So they just add a little bit of something. Again, we've got chipboard and cardstock, and there is quite a lot in this one. That's what I said. Some of the envelopes are going to have a lot in, some of them not so much. So that is all like phrases and words in the basic shapes, square and whatnot. And then I also have a pile for the more different shapes, and that's these kind of things, because that's icons up there. Because sometimes I'm not a fan of using them. And then we've got ones that are big up here. Got cut aparts. We have got transportation that isn't aeroplanes or cars, so like monorail, trains, boats, hot air balloons. We've got theme park specific stuff, so castles, ticket booths, carousels, Ferris wheels, that sort of stuff. A lot of castles and park maps. Sunglasses, outdoorsy and animals. We've got these sprinkle bits from Simple Stories because I love them. So these are like the hearts and the scattering pieces. Buildings and hotels, Main Street. Bingo cards, journaling spots, individual letters that make up words, small tags, and then traditional tags, so to speak. So the ones that are proper tags. And that is how I have separated them. So I'm just going to spend a minute and put these into envelopes or wallets, and then I will show you the reorganised Disney die cuts for us to dive into. Okay, so that is everything sorted and in here. I've got also a couple of sticker books which I will go through in the next video just to explain why I put them there. I've got it all in this metal basket. There's quite a lot, but it's because it's sorted and organised very, very well. Maybe too well, but it makes it easier to actually use the stuff. So we've got things like hearts and stars and scattering pieces at the front. Then we go into circle elements and words and phrase strips and word strips. Then lots of wordy elements, word shapes and different ones. Then we've got flags and banners and tags, cameras and balloons and more tags and flags. And then we've got theme park elements. We've got certain specific elements such as houses and buildings and planes and transportation and outdoory bits and tickets, lots of food, and then we move into frames at the back. So everything is organised and ordered. It might not make sense to everybody, but it's kind of in subject or theme within the theme. So Disney is the theme, and then we've got themes within it. So now I can just pull it out and think, oh, I need a word strip to add to it. So I can just come here and I can see that we've got all of these larger word strips. And if they're no good, then we can just come back in and we've got lots of small ones, for example. Or if you want to use a tag on a page, then you can just come in and pull out your packet of tags. And you know that they are all themed for Disney. So that is how I have organised it, and I'm going to do another separate video where we're going to make some embellishment clusters and utilise some of these, because obviously there is a lot here and this isn't all of it. I've not opened new packets or anything like that, but I thought let's make some embellishment clusters, and then we've got ready-made embellishments to add to our pages and projects. I will also explain this new project that is going to form part of the Dive into Disney Die Cuts series here on my channel. And then we'll start making projects, and it's just going to be an ad hoc series where we dive into this basket and use our stuff rather than just hoard it in a random box on a shelf. So I hope this video has been enjoyable and interesting, and hopefully you've picked out a couple of bits that you can translate into your own stash. Doesn't have to be Disney, you could do it with travel, birthday, spring, summer, winter, Christmas, whatever you want. It's the same principle. And I may end up doing this with Christmas as well, because I do have a lot of Christmas die cuts that are just scattered about here, there and everywhere. So thank you so much for watching, liking, commenting and subscribing. I really appreciate it. Every little thumbs up really does help YouTube creators. So whoever you're watching, whether it be me or another YouTuber, just give it a thumbs up, comment if you can. It really does help with our channels. So thank you everybody, and I will see you soon for some embellishment clusters. Bye for now.